short and sweet. This was my studio. A few months earlier it looked like this. The building is close to the center of Cologne here in Germany. I could see the cathedral every day during the last 12 years, in bright sunlight, in fog, at night, lit, and during the COVID pandemic, dark. The cathedral has its own history, of course. It was built later than most people think. During World War II, it was considered a landmark for the Allied airplanes, which they wanted to keep under all circumstances. While the center of Cologne was completely destroyed, the cathedral stayed more or less intact. We're talking about 1945, long ago. In 2009, only a stone's throw away from the building where my studio was, an underground station for a new tube line was built. According to what we heard, material was stolen, metal which stabilized the construction site. The building right next to it was the central archive of the city of Cologne. The archive hosted highly valuable documents, some of which were 1,000 years old. Due to the underground construction mess, one morning the whole building collapsed and crashed. It kept the city in shock for months, if not years. Three years later, the buildings in the vicinity of the disaster were empty. The tenants had all left. Since one of the buildings was considered safe, we moved in. Architects, web designers, the office of a school for driving forklift trucks, photographers, etc. About 15 people. Lovely. We had a very creative time there. From the top of the building I could launch a photo drone. I documented all developments around the area from above and from the ground. Most photos landed either at Picture Alliance or in the Wikipedia. My main job is radio work. Of course, I had a good microphone in my studio for making music, a keyboard and an electric guitar, which I didn't like very much. I have a Fender Stratocaster now. And for the 20 minutes afternoon map, I had a sofa. I never spent a whole night here, although I could have. Lots of things happened in this quiet and creative environment. For example, here I developed and produced a highly successful podcast about the Stasi archive in East Germany. With the help of that and another archive, I published radio specials and audiobooks about the Stammheim tapes and the criminal proceedings against 2 East German spies, which ended with the death penalty. The terrorists imprisoned in Stammheim committed suicide. In 2018, with the help of the German Radio Archive, I collected all recordings of the German Parliament from the mid-1920s to the year 1933, when Hitler took power and basically abolished the Parliament. All these findings needed a rich documentation for the internet, where you can hear all the recordings unedited in their complete length. The project, with this and lots of other original recordings, is a well-known public radio channel called Archivradio, so it's archive radio without the E in the middle. In 2017, I launched a YouTube tutorial channel about 3D computer animation, which after a few years had 16,000 subscribers. Some of these quite detailed tutorials and specialized tutorials were viewed over 100,000 times. I composed music for public radio and I composed music for myself, all in this cozy little studio. Now the house is empty. Several new buildings nearby, the tube station is still a mess, no underground trains running there. But I don't really care. I had a great time in this studio building, which will be converted into expensive little apartments for short-term rent.